Alright everybody, the TAS is very close to complete now. So as a little sneak peek, let me present to you High Hall's Arena. So obviously there's a lot going on there. So let me break it down for you. We're running at 10% speed here with the hitbox that's visible. And so really the core thing here is animation canceling. So you can see that we were able to get 2 slashes in quick succession as a result of doing a dash between. And then we comboed that into a harpoon, and then another dash, and then another slash. And then we got a nice spear in there, which of course hit the wall and canceled it early. And then we use harpoon to keep on the enemies. So you'll see a lot of these combination attacks. There we use the iframes from the harpoon to get through the enemy. And then we do another harpoon to get on the other side of the sky. And then we're able to line up a nail swing, go back a little bit and line up a nail swing that hits both of them. Nice little finisher there. So for each wave, we're basically able to set ourselves up in the air since we know exactly where they're going to come down. So we get ourselves into position, and then we use an opening slash, and then again we do a dash slash, which allows us to reduce our attack cooldown. And as before, we use harpoons to stick to things, and then a nice little spear to finish them off. The health amounts are actually a little bit awkward. We do have Barbed Bracelet, which is helping our damage, which is giving us 11 damage per hit instead of 9, but it's not a huge benefit. And that also doesn't affect the spear, so the spear is only getting 28, I believe. The harpoon actually is double dipping though, so the harpoon, I believe, is getting a total of 12. I actually forget the exact number. So he's on guard, so we're going to go ahead and switch to the other enemy. These bell throwers are extremely annoying. They like to stay very far away. So I kind of prioritized killing them whenever possible to keep them from getting too far out of frame. There we did a down dash into an up slash. And then we go ahead and grab this guy who conveniently came down for us. And then with the spear, we can weaken both of these. And then both of these are just one hit away now. So we should be able to come over there pretty easily. Use the harpoon, and then turn around and slash this guy. We had to use the dash to catch up to him because he was moving there. Quite a few waves in this arena, but TAS is able to dispatch them pretty quickly. The nice thing though is that the waves actually come relatively quickly. In a lot of the other arenas, you have to wait quite a long time between waves, but I think because there are so many of them, they decided to reduce that delay period. The pogos are extremely, or not the pogos, but the harpoon extremely nice because it helps you stay in the air as well. Because you get that little recoil, which when you're dealing with these flying enemies is extremely useful. Because you can see that they like to just kind of fly up into the ceiling, especially because we're staying high up. They just keep trying to go higher, and it makes them a little bit awkward to deal with. But TAS is able to do it. We work our way around, and then do a spear, and then we should be able to finish it out with just a dash slash. Yep. So nothing too difficult so far. Another spider comes in, drops in late to the fight. Not going to live very long. And dash slash. We definitely make use of the walls here a lot, because we want to get high up in the air. The bee bros here are very annoying. So we want to kill these guys as quickly as possible because the bees get in the way and make it hard to damage them. So we actually do quite a bit of damage on this guy before his bees even spawn in, but we have to be very careful about where we end up because they will hit you when they spawn in. So we used some knockback. So when you cast, there is a amount of momentum that you go into when you start the cast, and that momentum is preserved. So you saw in that case we were kind of drifting upwards. That was because we did a cast out of a pogo, and we timed it so that it was during the portion of the pogo where we had some upward motion. And so by changing which frame you cast on, and the same thing applies to casting harpoon, you can adjust your momentum. So you'll be able to see here, we were drifting there while we were doing the harpoon. And we can adjust that drift direction, and a nice little cheeky down dash into a slash there to dodge that bee. The bees are extremely annoying. I do love that you get down dash in this game without having to have a separate charm for it. That was one of my favorite aspects of Dash Master in the other game, but a lot of runs couldn't get Dash Master. But in this game, we get it for free. Well, if you have Dash, at least. Low percent doesn't have that luxury. So here comes the big boy. I tried to get a screen skip on this guy, and it turns out he has a hitbox right now, but when he's about to scream, his hitbox goes away. So you can see we were inside his hitbox, but we couldn't get hit by him. It would have done 4 damage to us, and it would have put the whole fight into a nice epic proportion, but alas, they prevented us from screen skipping. Which is interesting, because a lot of other bosses you can screen skip. There we actually snuck through. I actually wonder if his hitbox was missing for that attack, because the harpoon I don't think would have given enough frames to go through but it seemed to work. Now we're going to have to dodge this thing on the ground here. So we come in with the harpoon, and that gives us a little boost upward, and then we can pogo to stay off the ground. And then we can do another harpoon. And then a spear, since we're pretty close to the wall. We get a nice early wall cancel. And then we just barely missed that there. You can notice that her hitbox actually went inside the red circle there for a little bit. And the reason that works is because her actual hurt box doesn't include her feet when she's in the air. It's actually a little bit smaller than her physics collider, which is the green box. So you'll see a couple cases where Hornet just barely skirts above some of these hitboxes. And then we get a little bit of free soak from this. So we go ahead and grab that. Have to do a little juggling. Yeah, the soak management is a tricky part of the run, because obviously we're not healing, but we are constantly wanting to use our soak skills. And harpoon as well can be quite a big soak consumer. But spear is actually still a very large proportion of our damage, so we want to line up those spears when we can. Notice that we used a drifting away spear so that we could line ourselves up to deal with that guy when he came in and attacked. And then now we can use Harpoon to get over to the other side of the screen. That guy is pretty inconvenient, so we do lose a little bit of time here. We're going to set ourselves up off of the wall here to reposition. There might have been some ways to manipulate this so that it didn't go quite so high, but I'm still pretty happy with the quality of the fight. There's definitely room to optimize further. This definitely isn't a fully optimal fight. And again, you can see that we're using our drift back to prevent getting hit there. One of the nice things about seeing the future is you can adjust your trajectories until you avoid things just barely. Yeah, again, we got to take care of these bell throwers pretty quickly, so we use a spear to damage that guy down. He's one more hit now. And then we'll go ahead and fight this guy on the ground for a little bit. We do a dash attack on the ground, which knocks us up, and then we can hit this guy and dash over. Actually, we do a harpoon first. Then we dash over, slash from behind. And then we want to get this guy off the wall, so we do a quick little jump against the wall, and then harpoon to get to him. And then that positions us pretty nicely to dash over and take care of this guy. Oh, we have to use the spider because he backdashed, but the spider drops in at just the right moment. I forgot about that. That was actually not planned at all. That was just very convenient. But I was happy to take the spider's help. This guy actually gets an attack off, which is rare for these guys. But we managed to dash over, and then slash and harpoon. And then last hit. Boom. Just a couple more waves left. This arena really does just go on forever, doesn't it? This is one of the rougher segments, actually, this particular fight, when you're doing this RTA. These guys are really annoying, and that bell thrower is a menace. Doesn't matter too much to TAS, because he doesn't really get a chance to toss very many bells, but definitely annoying. So they're kind of all clustered up there, so again, we're going to go to the wall, and then now we're going to set up a spear that can hit these guys. You can see that the spear is pretty wide near Hornet. The hitbox on that thing actually tapers, so it starts out as a very wide triangle, and then gets smaller and smaller as it gets further away. So you'll be able to see a couple cases where we use the spear where we're above or below an enemy and we still hit it. A little bit of height there. Alright, another B-bro. Always annoying. Harpoon's always a nice thing to open with, because that gives us some height. And then spear gives us some damage. A little bit of a wall cancel, although we're not as close to the wall as I would have preferred. I'm actually going to pogo this bee to get him out of the way. You notice that one of the bees blocked the B-bro there. So while he's blocked, we take an opportunity to slash that guy, and then harpoon to finish him off. Now this part's a little awkward. This guy is going to guard, so we can't attack him right now because he's just going to deflect it. So we go ahead and take the opportunity to kill some little bees, and then we use a wall jump, and as soon as he's not guarding, we go ahead and stab him with the harpoon. And now we should just be able to dash and slash. Notice that we can dash slash quickly, and then we can immediately harpoon, and then we can dash slash again. So that's how we're getting that rapid fire damage much faster than a regular nail cooldown, because those dashes reset the nail cooldown. And then the harpoon can be used while you're waiting for the dash to reset, and you can kind of juggle the enemies and combine attacks that way. And then when you have enough silk, you can use Silk Spear. And the cast can, you can immediately cast out of a harpoon, out of a pogo, and out of a on-the-ground dash attack. All of those give you an opening to cast right away. And you can also cast more easily by slashing and then turning around. You can reset the ability to cast. And that'll allow you to cast more quickly. So these guys are a little bit tricky. We want them to group up, but they start really far apart. So we just go ahead and wail on this guy a little bit. Stay on the side he's not dealing damage. And then we move enough far left that the other guy starts coming over. So we go ahead and stab this guy, and as soon as he wants to attack us, now we can harpoon to get to the other one. And this is very convenient, because it's going to help cluster them up. I did a little bit of RNG manip here, just by trying a few different clashes to get him to walk backwards. And this helps to cluster them up here. We need to back off a little bit, because this guy is going to be slamming down. But we managed to fit in a spear that hits them both. But now we're actually going to down dash and slash to be able to jump immediately to dodge that attack. And you'll notice that we're using pogos. And the reason we're using pogos is that allows us to immediately use casts and harpoons. And we're just staying above the floor here where the danger is at. And mostly we're doing that by using harpoon. Again, very close on the feet there. And in some cases we allow the harpoon to lift us up. In other cases we dash out of it to keep from going too high in the air. We get a nice spear across both of them. And they're both getting pretty low here. So we're going to go ahead and harpoon to get close again. And then that guy is going to be a bit of a pain, so we're just going to deal with him in a little bit. So we're going to pogo to damage that guy, and then we are going to harpoon to get back. Now we just want to get some damage on this guy because the other one's within one silk spear of health. So another harpoon hits, and that is going to bring both of them down to harpoon or silk spear levels. And then just like that, we get the double kill. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy the full TAS once it comes together fairly soon. Just need to finish the last couple of fights and edit the video, put it all together. Thank you, everybody.
Come on.